So complexity is something that I think most people understand is good in a natural system, like in people or in the environment. Having a complex natural environment with lots of plants and animals and lots of diversity is a good thing. The problem is that it's difficult to study. So one of the things that we do as scientists is we try to eliminate lots of variables and focus on one variable to understand the effect of that variable on an outcome. And usually that means that to the extent that you can, you try and eliminate all of the other possible things that could create that same outcome or affect that outcome, either in a positive or a negative way. That's hard to do. It's very difficult, though, to isolate one variable and study it and do it well. And so what's happened over, the last, let's say, 100 years, specifically in food, is that because it's so difficult to do that, not only to study it, but also it's difficult to create a food that tastes the same, looks the same, behaves the same every single time, unless you process it. Processing foods has done a few things for not only the food industry, but for people in general over the last 100 years. And some of those are good things. It's increased shelf stability of foods, for example. It's increased our ability to lower cost in foods because we're now standardizing what they are and how they work, etc. But it's also eliminated a lot of the complexity in our diet. And we now understand that ultra-processed foods, to the extent that they're highly processed, that those can be bad for you. And a lot of the reason why they're bad for you is because they're missing things that we just simply didn't have the science or the understanding or the sophistication to understand were very important or even critical to human health. So now that we're beginning to understand just how important it is that we have complex natural-based foods and products, and we're getting the tools to be able to actually study it and to understand it better. One of those tools being AI, which is really good at kind of helping us to understand complexity that we can't understand all by ourselves. I think people are starting to more and more embrace the idea of being complex rather than trying to eliminate it, rather than trying to simplify it and reduce it down to component parts. And that's a good thing. That's good for everyone. It's good for the planet. It's good for people. It's ultimately less wasteful. There are still areas in which, some of that processing or some of those ideas about, improving stability or food supply can be applied that we've learned, but we understand we took that too far and that we need to be very careful whenever we do an approach where we eliminate or we take away something from its natural form or natural matrix.